Snellings,
Present.
Barris,
Here.
Barons,
Here.
Keating,
Present.
Eichmann,
Present.
Throm,
Here.
Schrader,
Present.
Gurecki.
Present.
Quorum is present.
All right, thank you very much. First up, we have approval of minutes.
Move to approve regular minutes, November 25th, 2024 is written.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
Thank you. Next up, we have public comments. If anyone's here that would like to speak to the council, you have 5 minutes. Please give your name, address, and ward, and come forward now. Seeing no one, we will move on to business and discussion items. First, we have downtown signage, awning, and mural guidelines. From One Marysville, we have Rory Clark. For the whole show.
Yep. Our whole design committee's here for this, just here really based to answer questions for you guys. We,
How long have you been working on this?
18 months or so.
A while.
It's been quite a while, about the same time we started with the historic district. It kind of threw the flag that this needed attention to at the same time. There was too much rubber stamping of signage, so we were trying to be a little more preemptive of having permits and everything.
Is there, and anywhere that already has signage that violates this is grandfathered in?
I don't believe so.
Okay. I didn't know what the status on that would be.
There's nothing we had any.
Yes, we grandfathered in.
Okay.
Is there anything that
Was there anything currently that's in violation?
Yeah, I just, if there is anything that's currently, is it, I mean, nobody's, that was something someone had asked me, was if they were gonna have to go spend money to change it.
No.
Okay.
It would be grandfathered.
Be here forward.
Yeah.
Council have any thoughts on this?
It looked good to me. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought
Pretty
it looked
thorough.
real good, pretty thorough. I mean, they spent a lot of time. I know Will was in there with them, helping with it
We
too.
have
So I
set
mean,
multiple meetings with Will, with, the Kansas Historic District, is kind of where we started with the whole foundation of it and Main Street, and just to maintain a continuity downtown.
And as we're getting more investment in downtown, it'll become more and more important that we keep track of such things.
Exactly, exactly.
move to approve the downtown signage, awning, and mural guidelines.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I have one thing. What about a new structure in town that's brick in nature? I did not see that in here.
Well, this
Is
would
it
be
in the
strictly
districts?
for the awning that would go on that, or the signage for that building. It's not far as new structure guidelines.
So is that under zone 2?
It would be under the map.
Okay.
Which area are you?
No, I'm just asking if somebody
okay.
built a new structure in town with a brick facade on 3 of the 4 sides, 2 of which being east and west, is it acceptable to allow them to put a mural on that?
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's just clarification.
Yeah. It would be the same way, because I think there's stuff that without digging back through it, but there was road-facing stuff. So like let's just say the United Bank building, the west side of it, right? It's on the road, so you couldn't have a mural there, where the mural on the wagon wheel was not the original structure of the building. So there's a little interpretation of most of that. And a lot of that had been discussed. I don't know exactly specifically a new building. I mean, like you probably wouldn't put one on the side of the health department at this point, but it would still need to be reviewed. Right out it's pretty black and white, but there's enough gray area, I believe, that we can keep it congruent with the rest of downtown.
Okay, that's all I had.
If that makes
Just
sense.
clarification.
For clarification. Are there any other questions or comments? Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rory.
All right, next up, we have the inspection report from City Inspector Ralph.
Unfortunately, he's unable to be here. I think his report covers basically everything, and then also Aaron Westbrook's letter as well. One thing additionally that happened on Friday, there was a gas inspection and everything passed for that. So there's still no gas to it, there's still no water to it, however, from what we can tell, everything looks good.
I do have one thing when you're done.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so, someone who was doing, the gas plumbing for it, they did, gas pressure tests, it's all passed and everything. And they were told by Kansas Gas that they actually won't be bringing a gas line to that house until after the first of the year.
Oh, okay.
From Will's report, it seems like it is livable. I know that there is work that they would like to still do though, so they're not wanting to move somebody in yet.
Is Will here? No.
No,
One
he's
question
out.
I had, and this other person had, was, to be livable, does it just need to have one gas fixture that's working for the gas line stuff, or is it what all needs to have to be livable?
I don't know the exact guidelines that are on the.
Does it have to have
yeah.
a furnace, a working furnace? Does it have to have a working water heater? You know, those were questions.
It had to maintain 70 degrees, I know that,
So work
through the whole house. I know that was part of it. I don't remember what all of it was.
I think it's that, and then there had to be some kind of a bathroom structure.
Right.
Which there is.
Which there is.
Sir,
And then
can you
a
introduce
shower.
yourself for the record, please?
Mindy Argo, my husband owns the property.
Thank you.
As far as I was told that we didn't have to have gas if we didn't have an appliance that needed it. And we don't know if we're doing mini splits or if we're gonna replace the furnace. Mini splits would not require it. And, the electric water heaters wouldn't require it either, so.
Correct.
So there's a couple things that you can do. You can remove it from the condemned list, or you can extend the date if you feel like that's necessary. I feel like it has met everything that we're looking for at this moment, so I would not suggest to move forward with the condemnation further.
So it's basically down to the choices of whether you want to remove it or just continue it at this time.
I mean, Will stated that it's met all the expectations, doesn't it? I don't, if that's the case, I don't see any reason to extend it. I think we just remove it from the condemnation list.
I'll make a motion to remove it from the condemnation list.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have the Christmas North Park request.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the North Park Christmas.
Wait.
You wanna talk?
Wait.
She wants to talk.
Really wanted to talk, Jeff. Go ahead, you can approve it.
It's been moved and seconded. Would you have any comments to add before we move to a vote?
Additional
No.
discussions?
No.
Same route as every other year it's ever been.
This is our 5th year, which is hard to believe.
yeah.
So, yeah, it should be good, hopefully.
You
I
want
think
to
we
add
have
a
like
little
300 people
plug
come through.
in there? That way whoever's listening can hear what's all going on.
Yes, okay, so it's our 5th annual Christmas in North Park. We use these cones to make, one direction traffic through the neighborhood. We ask for a donation to the food pantry, so canned good. We are gonna have Venmo this year, so I guess that's the new thing. We have Venmo if anybody wants to give a monetary donation. Santa's gonna be there, the Grinch is gonna be there. Nothing else new though, cookies, cider, hot cocoa, all the good stuff, so.
For people to get the Venmo information and whatnot, they have to be there to get that, or are you guys gonna advertise that?
We will advertise it. Didn't think about that, but it's just one of the committee members, like personal. So she's our treasurer. we'll call her the treasurer, so, but yeah, I guess we'll put that out there. I didn't think about that,
I think
but-
that would be good, there's
Yeah.
still, people will have that option.
Something else too, they're gonna record it tomorrow, we're gonna have an ad on KNDY, and some of the neighborhood kids are gonna do it, so be listening for that, but yeah.
And
be
it's
fun.
December 15th from 5:30 to 7?
Yep, this upcoming Sunday, 5:30 to 7, which we'll probably set the cones out at like 5. So the street will be one way 5 to 7, but, yep.
What's Venmo?
It's a way to.
You have to have a smartphone, Jeff. Do you have a smartphone?
He does.
I bet your daughter has one, ask her.
All right, any further discussion?
Long guy.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
Next up, we have resolution number 2024-26, the Marshall County Mitigation Plan.
Move to approve resolution 2024-26.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And next up, we have several ordinances pertaining to the water and sewer rate increases that we are having to move to cover upcoming expenses and demands on our infrastructure system moving forward. We've discussed these, I'd say, at reasonably great length internally and externally, and we want to get them, continue that effort so that people know what is coming. We are stepping them in, staging them in as best we can to minimize the impact, the initial impact, but this is a necessary move so that we can stabilize our finances and be responsible stewards of our utility system. So first we have ordinance 1936, the water rate increase for 2025.
Move to approve ordinance 1936.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Roll call?
Snellings,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Behrens,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Beichman,
Yes.
Rom,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Gurecki.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 1937, the sewer rate increase for 2025.
Move to approve ordinance 1937, sewer rate increase.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I think I would like it to be noted in the minutes of the meeting that we have not made any changes to anything since 2015. And so if we could make sure that's in the minutes.
Yes.
And in our article for the paper.
It's been, yes, a long stretch of without keeping up with the inflation and the cost of doing business. So unfortunately, we're playing catch up. But this will put us in a position where we will not have big jumps if we consistently manage the rates in a way that keeps up with those additional costs.
And I would hope that future city leaders will take the charge and make sure we stay
Correct.
where we need to be and not get stagnant again.
Was his presentation uploaded on our website?
So the special meeting is on our meeting videos. It was August 22nd, I believe. And then he did come back about a month later and give the presentation for us, and we updated council. So this has been ongoing for a while, and it is accessible if you want to see the full conversation.
That was my point. I would encourage everyone, if questions, to go review that again, because it was very informative, very...
We still write an article for the paper too.
Chris from The Advocate and I are working on an article, and then also we're looking at sending out mails to everybody. We were already going to be notifying all addresses of the lead service pipeline stuff, so we're just going to stuff another letter in there, and hopefully everybody takes a chance to read it. It'll go through what the minimum rate would be, and then a little bit of the background of how we got to this point.
If there's any information as far as help for people, programs and stuff like that that we know about as a city, if we could also put that in the article so people know where to go if they can't afford this raise, at least there's a way that they can make it happen.
Yeah, and that can be a footnote in the letter as well, just, one more tool we can give people to help who might be getting impacted especially. All right, is there any further discussion on ordinance 1937? Roll call?
Snellings,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Yes.
Brom,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Gurecki.
Yes.
Ado.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 1938, creating the Stormwater Utility Fund. This is the fund that will enable us to tackle projects such as the emergency need we have at the Nordis storm sewer collapse, but will also set us up to transparently manage funds to fix other stormwater issues we know exist, as well as ones that will be coming. This will help us have a dedicated fund to take care of those, where we can keep sales tax fund and other places we may have pulled from on task with other projects, whether they're roads or otherwise. So this is just a good way for us to make it really clear to the ratepayers and the taxpayers that we are managing their money very carefully and diligently and using it where we say we will. So, ordinance 1938.
Move to approve ordinance number 1938 as written.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I would add to the discussion here that this is a very important thing we do, not just the storm water, the sewer, and the regular water. We have been robbing from Peter to pay Paul with the sales tax. The original intent of the sales tax was to put the bypass and then some other projects involved there, but then the intent was to have money for street projects. And we've been stealing money from it to take care of the obvious things that we had to do.
It's not been money wasted, but not being used as intended.
No.
And with the aging infrastructure we have, that's why we had to rob Peter to pay Paul.
That's right. And I'd say we're in a pretty good place on a lot of our infrastructure because of CIPP and other projects, but you can never be, too cautious and too forward thinking, and this will make sure that when we do run into those, we'll have a mechanism to take care of it. So, is there any further discussion? Roll call?
Snellings,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Bikeman,
Yes.
Brom,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Gurecki.
Yes.
Ado.
Thank you. All right, and now we have the ordinance 1939 for stormwater rates for 2025.
Move to approve appropriation, or ordinance number 1939.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, roll call.
Snellings,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Bikeman,
Yes.
Brom,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Gurecki.
Yes.
Ado.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next we have the Gilmore Bell Reinvestment Housing Incentive District.
So this is another agreement for the purpose of the Kester Block commercial buildings. This will put in a developer agreement that Gilmore Bell is doing between Frontier Development Group and us, the cost of which will be covered by FDG.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Anybody have any thoughts, questions, or comments on this agreement?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Their fee is quite healthy, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm glad it's not being funded
Yes.
funded by us directly.
That- yeah.
It's just fine.
$410 and billed on 1/10 of an hour.
Yeah.
It was originally higher for the total project, but we cut it down to one specific thing, and that's when they went to hourly versus.
Yeah.
In the wrong business, aren't you?
Yeah.
You ought to be a patent attorney.
Yeah.
All right, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Ado.
Thank you. Next Next up, we have advertising for the city clerk position discussion.
Yeah, so like we had talked about previously, we were looking to advertise in the Advocate, on the League of Kansas Municipalities webpage, League of Nebraska Municipalities webpage, and possibly also the CCMFOA, which is the City Clerk Municipal Finance Officers Association of Kansas. For the league, it would be about $100 per ad for members, which we are. For the League of Nebraska Municipalities, it's 65 cents per word. Last time we posted on there, I think, was for the police chief position in 2021, and it was 55 cents at that time per word. So it is quite costly. I think at that time, it cost about $250. So if we were to go with the same length, very much higher than what the League of Kansas Municipalities is. I still haven't found out the price for the CCMFOA, but locally, that depends on the size of the ad. The last one we ran was $32.50, but I would assume that this one might be a little bit longer. Ultimately, this is the council's search process. So, time frame, I would suggest about a month and a half of posting. So that way there's plenty of time for candidates to be found. Is there thoughts on that?
Or, do we have a ad drawn up yet?
I'm still working on the wording, but it'll be fairly similar to our past ads, like the executive ads, I mean. So.
And are we doing like a memorandum for internally if anybody that already works for the city wants to take on a position?
So there's two different options. We can either post internally, and that would cost nothing, or we can post externally, and that would cover everybody externally, but also internal. Of course, like I said, that'll cost a bit. It'll about $400 or so total for posting.
So the total for posting with all the individual, or the groups that you talked about, just estimate, ballpark?
It would be about $400 for one-time posting, but that's not like, so the Advocate would be, weekly.
Right.
So that would add up to however you want, if it's every other week, or if you want it in the paper every week. And then the others, I need to talk with them about length of it and see if that affects. Generally, I don't think it does.
You think a month and a half is long enough to find someone? Or?
I think it's a good amount of time, especially if people have applied right away. Then you're able to respond to them. Usually those that are looking for jobs within 3 weeks, they'll have an interview and get started. So a month and a half actually extends that a little bit.
So what if we just do the Kansas League and the Advocate for now? And if we don't get any applicants, then we can widen the search? Wouldn't you agree? I mean,
How long do you propose leaving that open?
maybe 3 weeks?
Yeah, maybe like, not this next meeting, but the meeting after. If we haven't found any applicants, maybe expand that search?
Yeah,
So the first meeting of January?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Give some time.
yeah.
And then if we need to expand the. Yep.
Pretty important job. We want to make sure we have as many applicants as possible, but
It's a tricky balance because you don't want to wait too long, but
Yes, it would be good to do Nebraska, but Kansas and Nebraska are different states, and so there's different rules. So if we can find somebody from the Kansas League of Municipalities or the clerks, then maybe it wouldn't be so overwhelming that they have to learn all the laws and everything that may be different between Kansas and Nebraska.
yeah, we're not spending as much money too. So anybody can still get on the Kansas League
Yes,
municipality?
yeah,
So even
anybody
people
can just go to
Yes.
their website.
Right.
It's just about whether or not you're
Right.
thinking about going to the website.
Yeah.
the devil's advocate in me forces me to say maybe it'd be kind of good to have people with a completely different background. Maybe some of the interesting things they do in Nebraska we could incorporate. Heavens knows it's a different state.
No, but it's less costly and
Yeah.
we're getting people
We can try it.
closer, the better opportunity.
So if you go to the first week, or first meeting in January,
I'll look it up.
Here,
the 13th?
13th.
Yep.
So then I would expect setting up interviews over the next couple of weeks after that. And then from there, that would mean maybe, hopefully sometime in February, they would be able to start. Hopefully beginning of February rather than end, but you don't know when they're available
Right.
and how long. So if we post externally, that's what we're looking at.
And even if we just post externally, it doesn't prohibit anybody internally or in the city from applying. Okay.
Yep, and so if we don't get any applicants, then we're looking at a further drawn-out process, of course. But we would know by middle of January and be able to
Yeah.
either expand, change it up in some other way.
Sounds like the way to go.
So do we need a motion for that? Okay.
Nope, just a discussion.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have Charter Ordinance number 9, and City Ordinance 1900 discussion.
So why are we doing this? I thought we were waiting for Aaron.
Oh, this was asked to be put on the agenda for this meeting. And we were asked to include Charter Ordinance 9, City Ordinance 1900, and then I can't remember what else. Yeah.
Discussion.
I think there's two minds about this as far as whether we wait for an opinion or we move forward without the opinion, I guess. And I think that's why it was asked to be brought forward and put on the agenda, is to, if we need to if there's a feeling amongst the governing body that we need to make moves sooner rather than later, we don't have to strictly wait for an official opinion. We can remedy this however we see fit.
I'm of the mind, when I took this seat, we took an oath. I was in the military, I also took an oath in the military, and me personally, I take those oaths seriously. If I'm questioning that ordinance or anything about it as going against my oath, I think it's important that we rectify it and not waste any time waiting. That's my opinion on it. All the research I've done, I don't think it is correct or done the right way. So we either need to, if Aaron can't get to it, hire outside counsel to write a new charter ordinance and get rid of all the conflicts with everything, and we just need to get it going. Because I don't want to take an oath and be a part of sitting on my hands with it. That's just my personal opinion.
My take on it is, one way or another, we need to bring clarity here. Now, whether that's now or whether that's a month from now or 6 months from now or whatever, I'd prefer not later. I'd like to get clarity and us be at least on the same page so that whether we like what is in place or not, we can agree that it's beyond reproach. In regards to council, currently, Aaron is serving as both our counselor and our prosecutor. I am currently trying to find someone to recommend to the council as our counselor going forward. Been working on that. That is surprisingly difficult to find. So that's part of the reason the process has been a little bit slow on that side of things.
Well, when we were told that ordinance 1900, there was some discrepancies with ordinance 1891, so that's why 1900 was passed. But we were never told what those discrepancies were. Nobody could tell us. We asked, we never got a reason for why. And it changed section 2 of ordinance 1891, but it did not change anything in section 3 at all. And those two sections conflict each other.
So who's got 18, whatever you said?
1891, it was brought at the last agenda. I think it was the last one, otherwise it was the one before then.
I think it was the one before. I don't have it.
I know for sure the one before, I can't remember if it.
November 21st?
No, go back, the other one, because I was here for that meeting when it was in the packet.
November
The
12th.
12th.
So ordinance 1900 was an ordinance correcting technical errors in 1891. However, it failed to clarify what technical errors existed, and because of that, it actually violates City Code 1-109. There's one conflict. 1900 states Section 5 Charter Ordinance 9 is repealed. That violates the Kansas State Constitution, Article 12, Section 5C4, which charter ordinance cannot be repealed by anything other than another charter ordinance. So a general ordinance cannot repeal that. Ordinance 1900 states Ordinance 1891 Section 2 shall be amended specifically. Section 5 of Charter Ordinance Number 9 is repealed. However, Ordinance 1891 Section 3N specifically accepts all charter ordinances from repeal. So by amending Charter Ordinance 1891 with 1900, it contradicts itself.
Okay, I can't find charter ordinance.
1891?
Was it in actual,
It wasn't charter ordinance.
It's just a regular
city
ordinance. Ordinance 1891.
I'm just gonna speak my opinion here. I think Charter Ordinance number 9 was written the way it should be for our community.
In my opinion, since we have so many questions, and because I take my oath seriously, I think we just need to revert back to what we know was correct, which is Charter Ordinance number 9. Until we decide to write a new charter ordinance or decide something else to do, that's my opinion.
and I say we write a new charter ordinance right now with the way we want it and forget all this.
Let's wipe this all away with a new
Yes, charter ordinance.
Yeah.
In order to do that, we have to repeal ordinance 1900.
And 1891.
Why?
Because they conflict with everything.
If we write a new charter ordinance and at that time we say we want to repeal those two on that charter ordinance.
Ordinary ordinance cannot repeal a charter ordinance.
But a charter ordinance can repeal an ordinary
Right.
ordinance.
Yes,
Correct.
so if we do it all in one fall swoop,
Yeah, it
That
we should be able to
Yeah.
wipe it with that charter ordinance. But we just have to decide what we want that charter ordinance to say, and we have to move forward with creating it.
And I'm of the mind of Mr. Keating. I think Charter Ordinance number 9 was correct for our community.
and I don't think charter ordinance number 9 is correct for our community. I don't think we're big enough to have, so what are you saying? What are you wanting to do with charter ordinance number 9? You're wanting the chief of police to be our responsibility.
No, that's not what Charter Ordinance number 9 says. It says it's by mayoral appointment and council approval, like with the city clerk and everything else. He still reports to the city administrator with day-to-day basis.
Correct, but who fires him? The city council fires him.
Correct.
Yeah, no.
So that would treat it the same as the city
clerk.
clerk
Yeah.
and the city administrator.
And I don't
Those
like
three.
that at all, because we've been told that if something happens, we are liable.
Then we're liable with the city clerk and the
Yes,
city
we are.
administrator. So what's
Yes,
the
we are.
difference? There's no
Because
difference.
because the chief of police has a lot more responsibility and a lot more other stuff that can happen that I don't want to be liable for.
I don't disagree with you that they have a lot more responsibility and things, but that's also a stroke for why they should report to the council. Because they are special or different, or they have kind of a different role. I'm not speaking for or against it, but I'm saying there's an argument there that also is the case, so.
I mean, if you think about it, the liability exposure is no greater with the chief of police as it is with a city clerk that could move money in a manner that we don't want them to do, a city administrator that could move money in a manner, and that would give us a financial liability as a city where we would have some negative impact.
Yep.
I don't think any clerk, city administrator, or chief of police are going to do something that's going to negatively impact the city, knowing that it's going to come back negative to that individual at the end of the day. I mean, does that make sense? I mean, why are you going to go try to do something negative and then come to the council and say, well, no, I got this blanket liability over me, you can't do anything about it. And it's not really just the chief of police, it's not just the clerk, it's not the city administrator. At the end of the day, we ultimately are responsible, and if we turn a blind eye to something, then that's on us. And yes, you have that responsibility at that point. But if you know of something negative going on and you don't report it to the rest of the governing body, you've done your disservice to the people that elected you.
But it's happened before.
It is.
And that's why I'm so adamant against it.
Is everyone in agreement that a new charter ordinance to correct things and chart a path forward is the way to go? Is that a consensus?
Yep.
So the question is that something that needs to be hammered out right now by the council as a whole, or is this an admin and finance committee function where they come up with a proposal and then we come back and discuss it?
I'd say a council as a whole.
As a whole.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so what does that look like? I mean, I guess if there's a specific motion that somebody wants to make, we can use that as a deciding factor to go forward as far as the creation of this charter ordinance, because it'll have to be drafted and brought back for our approval, final approval. If we're going to do it at large, what does it look like? What is the formal proposal here?
Well, like Keith said, I think we need to repeal 1900 and 1891, because there's just way too many conflicts, way too many unanswered questions, and all it does is create chaos within the code book. If we get rid of those and then write a whole new charter ordinance, that's what we need to do.
So would you propose that the new charter ordinance basically be just like number 9?
Exactly like number 9.
With the addition,
Section 5.
with the addition of repealing 1891?
1900, yes. But then you have to change section 2 of 1891 to where it was back to its original form.
I thought we were talking about repealing.
I thought we were going to outright repeal 1891 and 1900.
Yeah, but
Thought that
it
was-
changed, 1900 changed section 2 of 1891.
But if we repeal both of them, it doesn't matter.
It's got to do both of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it is.
yeah.
That's, I believe, what's the proposal.
What all is in 1891 is the only thing I would
Yeah, and I don't
caution.
have it.
If there's
I can't
anything
find
that
it.
you
Right here,
don't
if
want to
anybody
repeal
wants
in
to
that
look at
one.
Can you hand that over here? I can't find it.
See, and I feel like this
Can't
is
find it
why,
either.
I know this needs to be taken care of, but I feel like there's a lot of research that a lot of us would, like me, I would rather go home and sit down and read all these charter ordinances and then highlight what I would like to see in them or taken out of them.
And that's fine, we don't have to decide this tonight.
Oh, there's
But if this is something we want to plan on coming to the next meeting with your
Yeah,
Yeah.
your
I think
list
so.
and what you want this to look
that way
like.
everybody can get all their ordinances, everybody has time to read them, map everything out, what they wanna see, what they don't wanna see,
And I
Instead of
can't
sitting
find
here
this
for
in my
3
email.
hours and
Can we
hashing
get
out.
this
gotta do what we
resent
gotta
out?
Yes.
And that'll give time for the
Yes,
1891 to
that's-
get resent out.
I would
so-
request that 1891 and 1900 and Charter Ordinance 9 be sent to us
One,
as one document,
There you go.
and then we revisit the subject at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would rather just sit
yeah,
at
and
home
that's
and hash it out.
completely fine. We don't need to do anything
Yeah.
in haste. We can do this at the next meeting, but do come with your thoughts and what you want this to be shaped like. Study what these two existing ordinances and number 9 look like, so.
And I think in the future, if one council member wants to get an attorney general's opinion on something, I don't think we should vote it down. I think we should just go ahead and do it. You know, just for, I mean, it caused a lot of problems. We could have had that attorney general's opinion on this before we even voted on anything.
How long did it take to get the Attorney General's opinion?
We won't know because it never happened.
According to him, the last meeting, he had one that Terry Hughes asked for an Attorney General's opinion and he
It
had
got
the
voted
letter.
down.
Huh?
It got voted down, so it didn't happen.
Councilman asked for attorney general's opinion, and we voted no on it.
But Terry, you said you had a copy of the Attorney General's opinion.
No, that was for a different.
Don't you remember when Terry made that
Yes,
motion?
I do, but
Okay,
I
he
also,
didn't have that opinion yet.
but did he ever get it?
Yes.
How
I gave it to
long
Josh.
how long did it take to get it?
I just look it up online and print it off.
No,
That's what he did.
that's,
So not his
it's on
opinion on
record.
this specific.
huh?
It's on
not
public
his
record.
opinion on this specific
Yeah,
situation.
it was
His
a
opinion on
similar.
Yeah.
Similar
Okay.
situation or
It was,
something?
Because John called the Attorney General and asked for their opinion.
Who said that?
He said that right in council meeting one night.
Well, then how come we got it?
Well, I mean, we don't
Well,
have factual
And
statements
we're
to
doing a lot
any
of
of
Monday
that,
morning
so-
quarterbacking right here,
Yeah.
so I think, yes, moving forward, we need to make sure we're thoughtful and careful about getting opinions where we need them from the authorities that be, but right now, I'm more concerned with cleaning this specific situation up.
Yes,
So,
agreed.
plan on the next meeting, this being something where you've got lined out what your expectations are for the new charter ordinance.
And can we get that information before Thursday, before the meeting?
Yeah,
Maybe as soon
probably.
as
You think
possible?
send it out sooner rather than later on
These
the?
3
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
you're
Like
later
requesting,
this
I can
week.
send them to you tomorrow.
great.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Good to go there? Next meeting. All right, no more business and discussion items. I see no notices and hearings. Move on to the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Ada.
Thank you. And we have appropriations ordinance 3836.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3836, the amount of $213,010.59.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Roll call?
Snellings,
Yes.
Ferris,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Pikeman,
Yes.
Throm,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Gurecki.
Yes.
Eda.
Thank you. Next, we have the city administrator report. Josh?
The Parks Cemetery Department just finished up the Potter's Field fence. Otherwise, we'll be trying to post the police chief position as soon as we finalize the wording on it. So,
You said it.
That's it. what was that?
Field
Potter's Field in the cemetery?
behind the chapel to the north.
Far north and northwest, or
Yep.
northeast, I should say.
Have they got the fence around the new lagoon done yet,
Last time I saw, they were still working on it.
or is it working?
There's a water hole in that one spot.
Hmm?
There's a water hole in that one spot.
I haven't been down there.
Is that all?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Standing committee reports. We had an admin finance committee meeting with Tim Woodcock from MHS there to just further discuss the Youth Advisory Council. We're in the process of drafting or coming up with a pretty good draft ordinance as far as what that will look like. From I did go to the school board meeting earlier this evening. Mr. Woodcock presented to them kind of the outline of what we discussed and what expectations we have. This is the first, the school board has formally had it presented to them. It's been in the newspaper, etc. They are wholeheartedly on board with it being not only a good opportunity for youth of MHS, but all the youth of our community to be involved and have their voices heard. And it's kind of a good educational thing that we can do for them, and also binds us with the school in a new and good, positive way. So I'd say everybody's pretty much on board. The tentative plan would be to have this start for the 2025-2026 school year. So hit the ground running in August. We'd hope to have, I think 8 maybe the target, but we've discussed 6 to 12 members, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. Like I said, a lot of the details are still kind of being finalized. We have a little bit of time right now, but at least initially it'll be kind of a nomination process to get it built. We're going to try to leave it a little bit open for some building for this initial group so that they can shape it to what works for them and what they need from it, what they can make with it, and then we can move forward from there. So we'd hope to have them kind of in place in advance of the school year, so that, or they're named in advance of the school year, so that they can be kind of getting ready for it, and then hit the ground running in the fall. But I don't know, it's kind of the high level view. Is there any other thoughts or comments?
I think it's a great initiative. I can remember junior high school. The coolest thing you could do is be a page at the state capitol. I mean, that was a fun thing to do. And then, and people grew up different ways, but when you grew up in a environment that was very focused on selfless service and contributing to your community, your state, I think it's something we're lacking anymore with some of our, and no offense to our younger generations, but any tool we can give them to engage is great.
And they do a good civic engagement program with the school, and this kind of augments that as well, because it's more than just listening or a day of asking questions. It's a regular involvement, and I really do see this as being a two-way street where we can send requests to them. Hey, what do you think about this? Or can you work on that? But they might also come to us, and they might see holes where we don't, because we're not young and we're not, in the same environment as them.
On the other side of this generation, though, I keep seeing I have to say this generation is very inventive on coming up with ways to make money, or fun things, or just finding out creative ways, and, I just keep seeing this group coming here and finding ways to, fun things that we can't even think of, or too entrepreneurial, too ignorant to even think about, so. It's going to be neat to see what they come up with.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited to see what kind of group, and yeah, hopefully in a year or two, it's one of those where we'll have so many people wanting to be on it, that'll be a problem. That would be fantastic.
This generation,
holding their own elections and stuff.
Yeah. This generation also knows what Venmo is.
Yes. Well, I could also see.
I got a checkbook if you want money.
What's a check?
Yeah. Like in January, they have that government day every year, and it'd be nice to maybe kind of put that in there for them to.
Yeah.
Because it's, like with Lisa, I've met her several times down there in several different conferences besides that. So, yeah.
And if any of you are ever asked to go and, be part of a classroom presentation or anything at the school, highly recommended. You'd be surprised how freewheeling it ends up being. You'll get classes where you'll start talking about one thing, and then you'll do a deep dive on the sewer system or whatever, and it's amazing. I mean, kids are thinking about these things. They just don't think anybody's going to answer their questions or listen to them,
100%.
and hopefully this is an outlet for that. So yeah, we're going to keep moving forward with that. You'll eventually get in front of you an ordinance to approve creating that. We had this evening a street committee meeting. I was only able to attend maybe the first half before going to the school board meeting, but I believe we discussed the 10th Street US 77 South project and how to proceed with that as far as add alternates to try to trim the costs down on the rebid of the project. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Because it came back a lot higher than initially. It's been a few years in the works. So finding a way to compromise and still get a, you know, a good replacement surface out of it while not breaking the bank is the goal.
I think another aspect of that was also coordinating with the state to see what their timeline is on how they're gonna maintain the bridge going south. I believe that that's in their works, but Daniel offered his services to inquire a little bit more about what their timeline would be to match up hopefully with ours, so we're not contradicting one another when we work on this project going south to the bridge.
Am I remembering right, but didn't someone say they have to bring it up a little
Mud
bit?
jack.
Mud jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna coordinate with them as part of this project, but, I mean, the focus on, we need to get through getting it done sooner rather than later, because the road is decaying quickly, expenses are rising, so it's not gonna get cheaper and easier to delay it. And then also, I believe the 12th Road, Keystone Road area was discussed. I missed that part of the meeting.
And 11th Terrace.
And 11th Terrace.
And 11th Terrace.
So if, I mean, somebody would prefer speak to that better than I can.
Did the city put up that sign? Or
No.
No.
Where did people get that?
My theory it'd be stolen from the state of Nebraska, because they're all over. There's not as many here.
Just like the
There's a
stop
few
sign
around.
got stolen over here.
I mean, I get it.
Shenanigans.
People are protesting, so, you know, I'm not mad at it, I just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, I don't know.
It's a big project,
Yep.
Yeah,
like close to
$4
$4 million.
Yes.
And he gave us, I want to be clear, he gave us a worst-case scenario that we would be doing all this in concrete. And I think that there's alternatives to look at, and we need to explore those very deeply. But yeah, I mean, this would basically, I mean, if you, even looking at like mobilization for one, he broke it down into thirds, which would be 12th Road to Keystone Road, then I believe 11th Terrace. So we have an option to phase it in. But if you look at mobilization just on one portion of that, it's expensive to bring contractors out here. But yeah, I mean, it's adding up, but it's, I mean, how many total miles?
This is what he gave us.
Two, pretty close,
At
yeah.
least, yeah.
But with that being said, the cost of it is a little bit intimidating. But hopefully with the new, stormwater utility fund, that'll free some money up in the future for us to look forward to these projects that we can divert money to in order to help the people out there. But one thing I was very encouraged about is I invited Representative Mosier to come to town last Wednesday, as she wrote a letter of recommendation for the city of Barnes, Kansas, to have their roads repaved. She came out and Jeff and I showed her this project, as well as the 7th Street corridor, and 8th to Jayhawk to the trailhead, as our proposed, hopefully 3 to 5 to 10-year projects that we'd be looking at down the road. But she seemed very optimistic in the fact that we would qualify for a lot of these grant monies with her backing. And we did not take the route of simply looking at this as, hey, please fix our roads. We think it'd be beneficial. I think Jeff did a very good job about framing it as we are missing out on a lot of economic opportunities out there with so much infrastructure that we're not utilizing, that she was, I believe she was very encouraged and, optimistic about that as far as being able to bring us grants or at least give us what's coming down the road. So that was part of it. And then I think she looked at several of the proposed 7th Street corridor plans for the K-State University students, so. But yeah, this is something that we need to look into as far as how to make this happen.
Yeah.
For us.
And thank you and Jeff for touring her around. I was unable to join.
Oh, yeah,
but-
she was really.
And it's good.
She's
It's
a nice lady.
Oh, yeah, and we need to have those kinds of communications with our representatives in Topeka because they are there to assist us as their constituents and constituent communities, and so having their support hopefully can make a positive difference in obtaining some of that funding. I know people who haven't driven out there don't necessarily realize how bad it is and how much of an issue it is for not only the folks who live there, but the folks who want to do business, the businesses out there, et cetera.
So, since this is probably going to be a while before we start on this, is there any thoughts or any reason why we can't go back to gravel to at least get some?
Well, Gary actually popped.
Yeah, we're going there.
It's a nice segue.
It'll cost you way too much.
That was gonna be my question. That is a nice segue. Would you like to discuss that portion of it?
Well, he's gonna have to dig it up. He's gonna have to dig a lot of that
Asphalt up.
up and put gravel down to make it safer for the time being.
Well, I don't think this is a piece of paper we should pass around. If we're gonna announce this, we're gonna talk about it in an open session. We need to talk about it in open session.
Yeah, so, I mean, he just gave prices of
His estimate.
his estimates, but he's not really sure how far he's gonna have to dig down on 12th Road or Keystone to get a decent base to put gravel on, so.
I mean, ideally,
They're estimates, but it could go way, either way.
if we did go to a gravel, my understanding is we could get a base built up that would allow us to do.
I asked him about that.
Okay.
I said, would this coincide with our base that we would be looking at building up for the purpose of
An overlay,
this project?
yeah.
He said no. He said that what he would be looking at laying down would make the road smoother, safer, but their requirements for their base that they would be putting down, they would tear it all up.
So we'd be throwing money down to dig it up in a couple of years.
It is a concern, yes.
And I like Gary. He's a great guy, but when I left the meeting, the first question that was asked, what's it gonna take to dig it up?
Exactly.
Well, I don't know. And he said, I haven't looked at it for 20 years, was his comment. And that really that's when I said, I gotta leave now, because if I gotta listen to this too much more. When you say, I haven't looked at it for 20 years, and it's a project we're talking about, it just doesn't sit well with me. So I would take some of the advice we're being given with a grain of salt, or be very careful about it.
The other option is putting mastic down every week, which he is doing. So he is out there looking at it every day. He's just not looking at the base.
I know he's putting mastic.
What they've talked about as far as doing the project before the overlay, the base that would be required, if we were to do that, if we were to do that, does that make it unsmooth and unsafe in the interim? I mean, what's the difference between that rock and that product? Is it just not suitable for long wear?
I don't know, but they'd have to dig it down and mix it and inject it.
In the same way when we pour concrete, I don't want us cutting into it 2 years later to do a project. I wouldn't want us doing this twice.
Well, we make the assumption we're pouring concrete.
No, I'm saying in preparation for asphalt in this case. I'm just using concrete as an example because we poured sidewalks and then that year cut it open again, and that's throwing money away.
I think what was encouraging about the committee meeting today, was that committee members were open to alternative ideas based on the very large proposal that was made. And I think what you do is you move forward and you get to that shovel-ready project, and then we start doing the footwork on funding it. and not get in a hurry to spend the next 2 years tearing everything out and putting something down that we're just gonna get rid of later on. People understand that we have good intentions to get it fixed, but let's do it right and not drag it out for a 10-year period.
I completely agree. I'd say 12th Road, if anywhere, sooner rather than later. It is such a hazard.
No, it's fun.
It is such a hazard that I don't think we can come up with a shovel-ready plan and then do the funding.
So why do we let it get to the point that it is?
I'm saying we can do two things at once. We can walk in and chew gum. but-
Unfortunately, a lot of us on council are fixing things that the other councils didn't do.
I know.
You know what I mean?
So I
Like
think,
the water rates,
Yeah,
right?
like
yeah.
everything, there's no simple solution.
There's not.
There's a short-term need and there's the long-term problem. Like basically you treat the symptoms while you're working on the illness. So the symptom is 12th Road is a hazard. The illness is we need to come up with a comprehensive, get it done project. I'll admit it, we should have done it years ago when money was cheap. We could have done one big project and we'd be on the other side of it now. But we need to, yes, like you said, get a shovel-ready plan together and be ready to put shovels in the ground. And it's hard for us to hang it on the next council, so everybody that's here has to run again so that you can be here to see this finished in 6 years or whatever. But, I mean, yes, I think we have immediate needs and the long-term ones, and we just have to keep our eyes on the prize as far as making that happen. We can't stage it. Staging it is just taking too long. We're paying mobilization over and over. Yeah.
So just get the plan put together, and then we'll find the funding.
Well, we're closer than we have been historically on putting together a comprehensive plan here, so.
Well, and I voiced this concern in the meeting, is that if we move forward with any of this to help fix in the short term, I don't want people to think that this is something we would then move to the back burner just because, okay, we fixed it a little bit, which I feel like that they could easily misconstrue that action for how it's just a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. So I don't want it to be taken out of context.
One of these happens to be the worst one, and it's not too unreasonable to at least short-term fix it.
I know.
At least show some.
Well, I step back, and I know that the city is not run like a business, but what I see is what the dollars you're seeing right here are material. It's a drop in the bucket to the cost of labor to do the work. It really is. I mean, I'm gonna say this material cost is 25 to 30% of the actual cost to do the work.
Yeah, I'm sure of that.
You start talking vehicles.
I mean, you talk about, 40 to 70, and how do you, approximately 40 to 75 truckloads of rock? What kind of estimate is that?
Well, like he said, in
Wide
some
range.
places, he says the asphalt's that thick, in some places it's
I
that
don't believe that. It was originally Jim Mueller put that
No.
down. It was a chip and seal,
No.
and then we quit taking care of it. It's not that thick. It might be that thick underneath the potholes,
Yeah,
It's been pushed and
yeah,
pushed.
pushed down,
pushed.
yeah, and filled in,
but
yeah.
it's not like we're gonna remove all that material.
I don't know if you can get through some of it though, if it'll break up, Jeff. I mean, I don't know.
Well, but I mean, the 23 to 41 truckloads of rock.
I know. It's a big,
That's a wide range.
63
It is
to
awful.
116, and that has nothing to do with the labor.
yeah,
He's just going off the price of rock.
Yeah.
Right there. That's a
I
rabbit
don't know if
hole
you-
right there.
blade it off or not. We don't know.
Well, how long are we gonna have to wait till we do something? Better to do something than nothing.
2026 be the earliest.
I'd say
You get it in the budget.
2027.
I'd say
2026, you don't have any money because
Which-
2025 is full.
To be clear.
And it depends on if there's a grant that's available,
Yeah.
which there
Well,
might
if
be.
there's a grant or some municipal bond funding opportunities to take advantage of the tax money we have coming in, right, with the sales tax,
There is.
it could be funding it, it could have been funding it for the last 10 years. But we've used that money for other things.
True.
And, to Kyle's point, we really are thinking of this as solving the problem, not creating opportunity.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
there are businesses and business growth, and there's room, I mean, the prime room for development we have in the city where we've invested infrastructure is out there.
And what do we need? We need entry-level to mid-level homes, to
Yeah.
starter homes, and that would be a perfect
Place to develop
Place to
it, there's
develop
water
it.
there, there's sewer there.
there.
It's
The
all
roads
there.
are the worst, the infrastructure problem is just the roads to
And
get
that's
there.
probably what's stopping half the people from even looking at the opportunity.
Well, I'm sure it doesn't help.
I will be the first to admit, Brittany and I looked at building there, and we chose an alternate spot because of that. It was in our consideration.
So what do we need to do to get more of a firm grasp of, we'll say, at least 12th Road
It's the worst.
remedying
Yeah.
it? What do we need to go out and do some sampling? They need to cut into it, and, I mean, what's it gonna take?
I would say, yeah, they would need to actually get out there and cut into it and see how
See
deep
what's
they need
under
to
it?
go. Cause otherwise, they're never gonna know, so.
I thought, didn't we have some core sampling
We
done?
have core sampling.
Well, yeah, that's a little different though.
I don't know how many we have, and this might be,
Yeah,
they need to go where they think it's really thick, go see how thick it really is.
Yeah, I don't think it's as thick as
Kevin?
some people
4
think it
foot
is.
thick.
No.
Yeah, I understand
I
being
think some places
fiscally
it is.
responsible, but if they have to wait another 2 years even
Yeah.
before anything
So-
even starts.
Yeah, that's gonna be all
We need
gone
to,
in
we
2
need to,
years.
we gotta take care of 12th Road before the
Yeah, it's the worst
2027
one,
budget
yeah.
kicks in.
So why not? I get what your point is, you got cost of labor and diesel and everything else, but that's gonna be minute to.
We don't have the equipment to do what they need to do to get that asphalt or chip and, it's not asphalt. The chip and seal and all the rock that's out there over the years.
There's asphalt
You
in
need
it,
like a
Gary
bow
said.
mag, right?
You need something other than a wheel loader and our old Alice Chalmers motor grader or whatever it is.
But like a bow mag machine, there are places around who do this sort of thing. Can we not go get bids to do that?
I would be interested to see what that's gonna cost. I think, do what we gotta do, but do not put the brakes on coming up with a road or a shovel-ready plan to move forward, so so we can keep moving on finding our funding source.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that Representative Mosier was very specific about is shovel ready. I mean,
Yeah.
if you can prove, hey, this is ready to go, and I think that was kind of I mean, she wouldn't be able to even give her nod of approval and write a letter of recommendation without this even.
So it's not pie in the sky, it's
Yes,
something that
she wants to see
committed to
hard
happening.
numbers, what it's gonna cost, what we would qualify for, and I think there's multiple, she acted like there was multiple grants out there, not
So-
just, the specific grant that Barnes used was the Ike grant, IKE. But she acted like there was others, but she wanted us to keep her in the loop on what our timeline was gonna look like, and what we thought we'd be shovel ready.
And I think she offered up the fact that they have resources at the Capitol to do the research.
She said, I need to reach out to my R&D, basically, research and, like, their lawyers.
Legislative research.
Yes, legislative
There you
research,
go.
thank you. But she said, I need to reach out to my contacts there to see what is coming, what is available.
So what do we need to do to get it shovel ready? Get bids on the project?
I think if you listen, you weren't here for that portion. I think if the street committee continues to push forward with coming up with some recommendations for the project, gets it back to council, and there's some kind of a consensus that is this is the way we want to move forward. Do we want to approach it from a Kansas Safe Streets or Kansas Safe Roads project and have wide enough for a walkway, or we just want this infrastructure, we want this drainage thing taken care of and move forward? That's what they need to know to have that shovel-ready project.
I agree. I think the streets committee can keep pushing on it to get that plan put together. But again, I think there's just a walking and chewing gum thing where we need to be working on the immediate danger while we're building that plan, so that way we can safely get to that plan actually happening. It's not a substitute, it's part and parcel of the same problem. So, I guess we'll just keep having street committee meetings and, keep working on this, so if we need to have another one before the end of the year, I don't think there's any reason to let off the gas.
There was another issue that was brought to my attention, by Mr. Dankenbrink. Basically to paraphrase, the 6 homeowners at Dawson Drive, were interested in, basically they went out to Hall Brothers and got a bid to have, hauling the placement and, them put down the millings basically from where Dawson's concrete ends to the west portion at 11th Terrace, that gap that is gravel-ish. They were willing to front the bill, however, several of the people living out there were curious if the city would be able to shoulder some of the financial burden. Now, the total for this is $5,769.25. And they were curious that since technically that is within our jurisdiction, if we would.
Who maintains that gravel now?
The challenge is that's not city.
That's what I wondered.
It's phase 2 or 3, and
The road's not in the correct place either.
yeah, it kind of ends there, and it was more than 5, wasn't it?
No, that's what the bid that he sent me the PDF.
Okay.
Now, and again,
The road's not
I
in the
told him
correct
I'd bring it
place.
up specifically.
The gravel road going in there isn't in the correct place.
And that was drawn up in the plat, or?
Well, I think the road's in the wrong place, Kevin, but
I know until someone builds there, it's not, yeah.
it's one of those things, we can't go back on previous councils
Oh, I know,
to say that, well, you really didn't pay attention to what was going on here.
yeah. I mean, the concrete road is, but
They just kind of continued it to get over to 11.
get over to
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
Yeah. 11
It's
Terrace.
technical, cause I asked, I think I asked Tom about it, and I asked, Cindy about it, and Cindy's response was, well, that's not city property. And the township says, well, that's city property. And so I just kinda left it at that.
Whose property is it?
Well, technically, it's.
Without doing more research, it's the developers.
It's technically the developer, but there's a easement that the city has to get to the property.
But it's the current road
But
and
an
the
easement doesn't mean
Right.
ownership and responsibility, right?
I mean, I'm in favor of trying to help out where we can. I mean, I haven't been out there, to be fair, I haven't been on that road in a couple of years. It doesn't go through, so I don't know where I'd be going. But I do have concerns of the long-term maintenance of us doing this. I don't know what the expected lifespan of this millings would be, or if, I mean, is anybody grading it now, or is it just
No.
as it lies?
No.
It just lays.
It's
That's what I wondered.
kinda like,
'Cause it's hard to
12th
grade
Road
that.
going south, I think there might have been an agreement with the city that we would help pay for the rock if the township would maintain it.
Right.
I've lived out there for 8 years, never seen a load of rock put down. Never seen a load of rock paid for by the city. But they maintain it. But the second day after it's rains and they maintain it, then it goes back to washboard. So, there's a big disconnect
Yeah.
out there. so.
Well, and going back to this issue, I think if we need to look into it a little bit further and see what we need to do. I told him I would approach council with it.
Well, if our street committee's gonna be meeting
Yeah,
anyway, we can do a little more in person and we can ask questions.
I'd like to have a little bit more information on that.
Yeah, I'd like a little more information because I guess, how's it look to the other people
Right, yeah, we were
Yeah.
just talking
that
about.
were
put money
fixing
on
that
it.
road, putting money in that road, but we can't do anything else to the other ones?
Oh, I know,
And, yeah, so,
okay. One more thing to devolve to the
Yeah.
street committee and bring back more information later. Anything else, Kyle?
I think that's it. Is that not enough?
Yeah, that's enough.
Okay, also, some committee to be set up. I think we need to set up a water and sewer committee meeting, about a specific rate issue with a customer with their sewer rate calculating off of a water leak. Without going into great detail, we need to have a water and sewer meeting. I don't think we had any other standing committee meetings since the last council.
I need to discuss that other issue.
Yeah, could we discuss, the other issue would be
Water lines,
the water lines up,
the old.
On Keystone?
Yes, on Keystone.
Keystone,
Yeah,
yes.
From Rob
Can we
Peschel's
add
down.
that to the agenda?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I think that.
I think that's
should be
another
added
good
too.
thing to get started
Yeah.
thinking about.
Agreed.
We talked about it for a couple of years now.
Are there any other need for other committee meetings that anybody knows about, specific issues or projects that we need to? Okay, we'll work on getting those two set up. I know it's a busy season for everyone, but city doesn't sleep, so
We get paid the big bucks. to
that's
do
it.
this.
That's exactly it. All right, so moving on to appointments and wage determinations. I have here some planning and zoning appointments. Barb Keycafer, it's a reappointment. She has been filling in position for the last few months, and I'd like to reappoint her to a full term. I'd like to reappoint Shelby Temps and Steve Bloomer, and I'd like to appoint Pat Ellenbecker as an extraterritorial zone alternate.
Move to approve the appointments.
Second.
Okay, so moved in second. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And then under fire department, we have Don Ballman as chief, Joe Pilsel as deputy chief, and Alex Rombeck as assistant chief.
Move to approve fire department appointments.
Second.
Okay, so moved in second. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We do not have our city attorney with us this evening. Does anyone have a specific need for executive session this evening? I wouldn't mind having a short one to discuss non-elected personnel. If you guys wouldn't mind, just, I think 10 minutes would be fine. If somebody wants to read it.
I'll read it. I move the city council recess into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel, discussion on specific personnel matters, not general personnel policies, exceptions, KSA 75-4319B1. This session will include mayor, city council members, city administrator. The open meeting will resume in the city council chambers at 8:30.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I know, there's not a lot of finagling.
Sure. I will do that. You're welcome.
mic's off on mine.
All right, we now return to open session from executive session where no binding decisions were made. Anybody have a need for any other executive sessions? Okay, moving to council comments. Lori?
Yes, I got an email. This was clear back from November 13th, but I wasn't here at the last meeting. So, I'll just read it.
Okay.
I have concerns with the part of the city code regarding parking on city streets for more than 24 hours. I received a violation this morning in one of my vehicles for parking on the street for more than 24 hours. My concern is, why was that vehicle violated when I have another that hadn't moved since Sunday, and the neighbors' vehicles often sit on the street for more than 24-hour periods? Why were those vehicles not violated, but that one was? It is an older vehicle, but if it was violated for that reason, that is an issue. I parked that vehicle in that same spot for 4 years and never had an issue. Unfortunately, I will not be able to move it for a few days as it does need a starter, which I have coming. But what is to stop me from simply switching it with my other vehicle every day? To me, it is almost impossible to be enforced fairly, as what if the vehicle did move but then was parked in the same spot, but was not witnessed to have moved or video evidence of it not moving? I think this needs to be brought up and discussed.
Yep.
I'd say it's, when there's an ordinance or rule not being evenly enforced,
Yeah.
it gets kind of dicey. And I know there's a lot of vehicles that haven't moved. Some of them, especially, I go for runs in the morning in the streets, flat tires, lots of leaves under them. Pretty sure they didn't move in the last 24 hours. So, but I get the concern. 24 hours is reasonably quick. I mean, if you left for a long weekend and you've got
Well,
two
that's
cars.
just it. Yeah, and you parked one of your cars on the street and you were gone from Friday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that rule?
I don't know why it's 24 hours specifically.
It's an ordinance.
Yeah, but
No,
why,
I know,
is
but
it,
is there a reason?
is there a reason the 24? Is it just?
I have
'cause
no
of-
idea why
I don't
that's
know.
in there.
Is it part of the standard traffic ordinance, or is it something?
Good question.
I think maybe we shoot this to a committee
Yeah,
and maybe
fine.
delve a little deeper
That'd be
into
police
this.
and fire.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, somebody,
You make a very good point, Todd. What if I go on vacation for a week
Exactly.
and I have my car,
Violating the law.
I'm violating the law, I guess.
you're getting a violation every day for 5 days.
I know former governing bodies' vehicles are sitting on the street for more than 24
Well,
hours.
yeah, I mean, and I can't park on the street, so I can't do it, but I think it might be something we want to review, because it might be part of that standard uniform.
Traffic ordinance.
Traffic ordinance.
But yeah, I
And
think
it
we
might be
should-
part of an education experience for whoever was issuing the, I'm not gonna call it a citation,
Yeah,
but.
I'm a lot less concerned about somebody being personally 24 hours than flat tires and it's there, a week, or they can't, street sweeper can't clean, that's a different problem.
There's a vehicle that parks at the stop sign, and I know that there's a minimum
Yeah.
you're supposed to be like a couple hundred feet,
30 feet, I think.
something.
It's
In
30
the
feet.
radius or?
And it does, and that won't move for days.
And I think some of this
So it's like
is
a double.
probably complaint driven, like a lot of things, because you could have one person just out marking tires. I mean, it would take a lot of bandwidth, but
Yeah, how
I know,
did-
but
how
in this
did they know?
situation, if the
Yeah,
neighbor's vehicles
I
are
know,
parked across
but
the street and didn't
clearly
move for
frustrating.
longer, yeah, I get why they're,
Yeah,
no,
I would be slightly upset also if I would've got a violation like
I'd
that.
say
I'm assuming
maybe that one was complained about. I don't know, but
Yeah.
let's talk about it
But I feel like,
further.
yeah, let's shoot that to a committee and maybe investigate that 24-hour thing a little more.
Well, if we're gonna investigate the 24-hour, we'd have to make sure that there were some exceptions, because we wouldn't want people parking downtown for.
Right, I mean, I get
Yeah.
that, but,
and we do have certain areas that are designated as.
Right.
yeah,
And we don't know, this person might be parking in one of those designated areas.
no, no.
So we know more than we
Address, it is not
think we know.
in that
Did they
area.
would they receive a warning or an outright ticket, do you know?
That's all
Probably
he
just a
said.
tag.
I mean, that's a lot of it, the education side of it thing, where, I mean, if I know and I get a warning, I'm probably gonna find a way to, without a starter, drag it up the street or whatever. But,
So,
yeah. Okay, so police and fire committee can discuss that.
going to that point, don't we still have, I know there's on the grass and list, no mowing and all that. We have multiple cars that have been on there for months that are not tagged. Why are we not towing those, or is there a reason for that?
I'd have to see the list, because I don't have it with me. I mean, there could be a number of things. I'm guessing that you're talking about from Will's list, right?
Yeah.
Some could be waiting on titles, other ones,
I know we have two in the process right
Yeah.
now. But I don't know about the ones you're specifically.
Well, I just, the ones
I
that
would
have
have
been
to
on
look
there
at
a while, I just noticed they're like continuously on there. I don't know if it's budgetary, we can't afford it at home or what, but.
I think it's probably procedural with the titles and things. I could imagine that being an issue. Takes some time.
Okay. That's all.
That's all I got.
Great.
I don't have anything.
Colleen? Jeff?
Great, you do have, you forgot, stop sign.
Oh, I told him earlier.
Oh, you told him, okay,
Yeah.
never mind, never mind.
Yeah, all good. Yeah.
I have nothing. I never made it downtown Saturday. I'm hoping it was a good day and good evening.
It was
Yeah,
fun,
it was nice.
it was good.
Cool. Did we have a black squirrel?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, Sammy was down there sweating his butt off in there.
Who?
Sammy the squirrel.
Oh, okay.
You don't even know the squirrel's name, Jeff? Oh.
Keith?
How often do you rotate committee members? I mean,
Generally, I think it's when the new mayor takes over, or at the mayor's turn, so 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason, I suppose, we couldn't shuffle it in between. If you're just champing at the bit to be on a specific committee.
It's a way to get everybody involved.
Oh, no, I think it's, yeah, I
I
agree.
know 2 years is too long, I mean,
I know when I looked at reshuffling it, I tried to do a little bit of a balance of somebody who's been on there and knows, and, a little bit of background, and then somebody new, because, yeah, it's beneficial to have service on different committees to learn the different things. I agree.
But I think 2 years is good, because, the first year you get on council, it's a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
A lot of learning, yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like that second year, you're trying, finally, like, okay, now I'm getting it.
Yeah.
I think that 2 years is good, personally, but.
Okay. Anything else, Keith? Kevin?
Just glad to see everybody downtown on Saturday. It was a nice crowd, Tried to do some new things, bring some people to town, and
Okay.
nice parade, so, yeah.
Weather was nice.
Weather was great,
Can't beat it.
a little warm, but,
You complaining about warm days in December.
Yeah, I did. It was really warm in the summer.
Should have been like Sammy.
Chris?
No, the parade was good. I got volunteered to vote for the contestants and stuff. And it was fun. It was neat seeing all the families dress their kids up and come. Yeah, the King and Queen Elf, and then what was the gal's name? Mrs. Roper.
Mrs. Roper.
Did they have very many people for that?
Mrs. Roper, we thought was just going to be a gimme because it was one gal, and her costume was amazing anyway. She ended up winning anyway, but two others showed up.
There's three total.
Right, yeah. But no, it was good to see, and then the parade was really good. Had a lot of good floats, and it was nice.
A lot of people don't know who Mrs. Roper is.
I had no idea.
There was a lot of people that I saw commenting, like, I don't even know who that is.
Reminds me of-
I went to YouTube and I watched it, and I watched how they walk and everything. So
It reminds me of, was it Three's Company?
Yep, that's it. It's the landlady in Three's Company.
I remember the landlord, I don't remember the landlady.
If you saw a picture of her, you'd remember her.
But it was nice seeing, they had Santa at the Santa house, and there's a long line for that, and pony rides, and petting zoo, and all kinds of stuff. It was fun.
Cool.
Good to see.
Great.
Was it Thank You for Being a Friend?
Yep. No, that's Golden Girls.
Sorts of
You are
Jeff
not
being
doing
old
good
today.
tonight. Not at all.
Kyle? Okay. I didn't have anything.
I got one more thing.
Oh, sure.
Do we have enough salt for the year, Josh?
We have ordered salt for the winter, and we'll see how this winter goes.
Is
And
that something that can be contracted? As far as
I mean-
chicken, as prices be higher after the first of the year, is that something we can contract
Get ahead of.
now, or?
It could, we just don't know if we need any, is the thing. So, I mean, if we got a contract, we'd have to fulfill it, and I don't know if they'd allow us to fulfill it at the end of next year. at this year's
That's
what
prices,
the,
you know.
what the contract period is.
So we'd have to look into it, yeah.
It's worth looking into.
So do we have a stockpile left over from last year?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh.
and then we
bunker.
went ahead and stockpiled some more.
They dumped some more in there, so
Okay.
about 3/4 way full across it.
Hopefully we won't need it all. All right, anybody have anything else?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
I don't know why he